Number 1. The flinch test. You know that moment when someone playfully pretends to punch you and your whole body jolts like it's about to be mauled by a velociraptor? Yeah, that's not just a reflex. It's your nervous system going better safe than concussed. The flinch response is one of the oldest, crustiest fear reactions in the human brain's repertoire. It's run by the amygdala, your brain's personal bouncer. The second something seems threatening, a loud sound, fast movement, or even an aggressive text message, your body jerks like it just stepped on a Lego. Why? Because your subconscious assumes the worst-case scenario faster than you can blink. Literally, it's pure evolutionary panic. That fast-moving object could be a rock, or a fist, or a saber-toothed tiger with boundary issues. People who flinch more often? It's not just being jumpy. It's usually tied to heightened anxiety, trauma, or a subconscious belief that the world is not a safe place. Your body's trying to dodge ghosts from your childhood, office politics, and poorly timed high fives. Basically, your brain's motto is, if it moves, it kills. Flinch now, explain later. Number 2, over-explaining everything. I just wanted to say, not that it's a big deal or anything, but if it's okay with you, I might leave a few minutes early, but only if no one minds and totally no pressure. If that sounds like your daily dialogue, congratulations. You may be subconsciously terrified of rejection, confrontation, or just existing with basic confidence. Over-explaining is like emotional bubble wrap. You pad every sentence so no one can get mad or misunderstand or think you're gasp rude. Psychologically, it's often tied to childhood environments where people were punished for speaking up, being assertive, or doing things wrong. Your adult brain is still trying to avoid invisible scoldings from ghosts of authority figures past. This behavior also shows up in email signatures like, "Sorry for the long message," or the iconic, "just following up," as if you're apologizing for sending a sentence through the internet. Your fear? Being seen as inconvenient. Your solution? Turn every sentence into a peace treaty. Number 3, laughing at the worst time you're at a funeral. Someone says urn and you think vase with a diploma. Now you're giggling like an unhinged Muppet. Why? Because your brain's stress valve is comedy and it's leaking. This is called incongruous affect, and it's your psyche's attempt to not spontaneously combust in high-pressure situations. You don't laugh because something is funny. You laugh because something is way too serious for your brain to cope with like a grown adult. It's like emotional whiplash. You slam into sadness or discomfort, and your brain throws up jazz hands to deflect. People who laugh during trauma, intense therapy sessions, or terrifying moments, they're not broken. Their brains just default to the one defense mechanism that doesn't require crying in public. The irony? Society says it's inappropriate, but biologically, it's self-preservation. So if you're ever stuck in a crisis with someone who can't stop giggling, don't judge. They're just trying not to die inside. Number 4, doorway amnesia. Walked into a room and instantly forgot why you're there? Congratulations, your subconscious just pulled a memory purge because your environment changed. It's called the doorway effect, and it's both hilarious and vaguely terrifying. Your brain, in all its efficiency, organizes thoughts by location. So when you pass through a doorway, it goes, "New scene. Previous thoughts don't apply here," and deletes your mental tab like a poorly coded web page. What's this got to do with fear? Well, it reveals how easily your brain prioritizes environmental context over conscious intention. That means your subconscious is more interested in whether a room is safe than whether you came in looking for socks. From an evolutionary perspective, it makes weird sense. Entering a new environment? Focus on potential threats first, grocery list second. Because in the savannah, forgetting why you entered the cave was fine, as long as you didn't forget to look out for bears. Basically, your brain is the world's worst intern. Deletes your notes the second you move, but insists it's keeping you alive. Number 5, picking your skin, or scalp, or lips. You're watching Netflix, minding your own business, and suddenly you realize you've spent 40 minutes excavating your forehead like it owes you money. Welcome to dermatillomania, aka compulsive skin picking, where your hands do archaeological work your conscious brain never authorized. This isn't just a bad habit. It's often a coping mechanism for deeper anxiety, stress, or, wait for it, fear of losing control. Yep, your body's like, everything's chaos, but this hangnail, I can fix this. Picking is soothing in a weird, destructive way. It activates your brain's reward system, hello dopamine, and gives you a temporary feeling of control or relief, like scratching an emotional itch. But the fix comes at a cost: broken skin, infections, and the realization you've become a one-person demolition crew for your own face. It's a textbook example of maladaptive coping, where your subconscious is trying to self-soothe through sabotage. So if you catch yourself doing it mid-scroll, just remember, it's not about the zit, it's about the existential dread behind it. Number 6, apologizing for existing sorry. You said it again, for bumping into a chair, for asking a question, for breathing too loudly near the printer. This isn't just politeness, it's subconscious fear management wrapped in a Canadian accent. Excessive apologizing is usually fear's passive-aggressive roommate. You're trying to preemptively dodge conflict, disapproval, or any sign that someone might be mad at you, even a little. You're not just saying sorry. You're saying, please don't hate me. Research links this to low self-esteem, social anxiety, and past experiences where conflict was dangerous. Maybe you were taught that speaking up equals trouble, so your adult brain creates a ritual: over-apologize, and maybe no one will get mad. It's like emotional garlic against imaginary vampires. Here's the kicker: it often has the opposite effect. The more you say sorry for things that aren't your fault, the more people start treating you like, well, a doormat with excellent manners. So unless you've personally crashed the moon into Earth, maybe save the apology for real crimes. Number 7, that thing where you don't text back for days. Ah yes, the classic, I saw the message, thought about it, got overwhelmed, and now it's been 3 days and I feel like a criminal spiral. Avoiding communication, especially when you want to respond, is often rooted in social fear. Fear of saying the wrong thing, fear of disappointing someone, fear of commitment, even if it's just to a text convo about dinner. Psychologists call it approach avoidance conflict. Your brain simultaneously wants and fears the outcome of an action. So you do nothing, which feels safe, until guilt crashes in like a raccoon through a screen door. It's the same weird dance as avoiding emails, calendar invites, or literal confrontation. The action itself isn't hard, but the imagined consequences have your subconscious curled in a blanket fort, whispering, maybe later. Ironically, the longer you wait, the scarier it gets. Your brain turns a normal task into a psychological boss fight. And the fear? It's usually not about the task. It's about your deep-seated terror of messing up human connection. Number 8, checking locks. You just locked. You turned the key. You know you turned the key. And yet, 5 seconds later, you're standing there like a confused raccoon, jiggling the handle for the 6th time. This little ritual is more than just forgetfulness. It's anxiety doing a trust fall and missing. Specifically, it's your brain doubting its own memory because it associates safety with certainty, not facts. The behavior is called compulsive checking, and it often shows up in folks with obsessive-compulsive tendencies or high levels of generalized anxiety. Deep down, your brain is terrified of what might happen, not because it's likely, but because the uncertainty is unbearable. So you end up doing logic gymnastics like, okay, if I pull the handle 3 more times and stare at it for exactly 6 seconds, then I can go to work. The irony? It's not about the lock. It's about your brain begging for control in a world that doesn't come with guarantees. So yeah, it's not the door. It's your fear playing peekaboo with reality. Number 9, randomly imagining terrible things. You're holding a baby and suddenly picture yourself yeeting it across the room like a football. Or you're driving and imagine swerving into traffic for no reason. What? Why? Relax. You're not evil. You're just human. These are called intrusive thoughts, and they are as common as they are horrifying. Everyone has them. Yes, even therapists, especially therapists. Intrusive thoughts are the brain's weird way of testing boundaries. Like a toddler poking a hot stove, just to know. They often show up when you're in situations where you care deeply about not doing harm, which is exactly why your brain whispers, what if you did? It's the cognitive version of a jump scare, sudden, intense, and completely irrelevant to your actual values. The more you fear them, the more they stick around, because your brain thinks this must be important. Let's loop it like a broken playlist. The good news? The people who worry about these thoughts are almost never the ones who act on them. The bad news? Your subconscious doesn't care. It's just flinging nightmare scenarios like a very unhelpful improv troupe. Number 10, feeling personally offended by neutral faces. You walk past your boss, they don't smile, and your brain immediately starts drafting resignation emails. Or a stranger glances your way and you think, what did I do? Welcome to the negativity bias. It's the charming feature where your brain assumes that ambiguous equals threatening, and nothing is more ambiguous than a neutral face. Why? Because our brains evolved to prioritize survival over social nuance. Back in caveman times, if someone's expression didn't scream friend, your subconscious filled in the blanks with probably enemy. Fast forward to today, and your coworker's resting blank face becomes a perceived threat to your entire existence. This is even worse if you're already anxious or hypervigilant. Your subconscious scans faces like it's looking for microaggressions in Morse code. Spoiler, the person probably just had something in their eye. But fear doesn't care about logic. It just wants certainty. And since a neutral face offers none, your brain happily fills in the gaps with worst-case scenarios and self-blame. So if you ever find yourself spiraling because Karen didn't wave back at the copier, just remember, her thoughts probably had nothing to do with you. She was too busy thinking about whether she left the oven on. Number 11, needing background noise, 24/7 TV in the background, podcast while you shower. You can't even fold laundry without some disembodied voice filling the void. Sound familiar? This isn't just boredom. It's a subtle fear of silence, or more accurately, a fear of what your mind might say in the silence. Constant stimulation acts as psychological whiteout, covering up uncomfortable thoughts, unresolved emotions, or that gnawing sense of something's wrong, but I don't know what. Silence leaves room for introspection, and for some people, that's basically opening Pandora's inbox. Studies have shown that people will literally choose electric shocks over sitting alone with their thoughts. That's not metaphor, that's science. Your brain's like, we could sit quietly and process our emotions, or we could listen to a true crime podcast while doom scrolling through snacks. The noise isn't just entertainment, it's armor. But hey, don't feel bad. It's hard to face your inner monologue when it sounds like an over-caffeinated guilt goblin. Just know, if you can't be alone with your thoughts, maybe your thoughts need less supervision and more therapy. Number 12, hyper-planning. Every tiny thing got a spreadsheet for your vacation, a schedule for your meals, and a checklist for your checklists? Welcome to control addiction, aka if I plan every detail, nothing bad will happen syndrome. This behavior is deeply rooted in, surprise, fear, not of failure necessarily, but of uncertainty. Your subconscious believes that chaos is lurking around every corner, so it builds a psychological moat made of Post-its and color-coded tabs. Ironically, this overplanning often leads to more stress. Because when life inevitably goes off script, as it always does, your brain throws a fit like a toddler whose toy didn't come with batteries. People who hyperplan are often praised as organized or type A, but under the surface is usually a nervous system on red alert. It's not just about efficiency, it's a defense mechanism against the terrifying reality that most of life is outside your control. The punchline? No plan survives first contact with reality. But try telling that to your color-coded Google Calendar. Number 13, freezing up during simple decisions. You're staring at 2 kinds of peanut butter for 10 minutes like it's a hostage negotiation. Or you spend 40 minutes drafting a 3-sentence email that will eventually be deleted anyway. Why? Because your brain thinks every choice is a potential trap. This is called decision paralysis, and it's not laziness. It's fear in business casual. At its core, it's a fear of consequences. That one wrong move will lead to judgment, failure, or somehow living in a van down by the river. Your subconscious turns small decisions into life or death situations, even when you're just picking a snack. And the kicker? The more you delay, the scarier the choice feels. You start mentally calculating how choosing almond butter might impact your cholesterol, your finances, and your chance of winning the approval of your imaginary nutritionist. It's not indecision. It's over-responsibility. Your brain acts like every moment is a fork in the space-time continuum. Choose wrong, and suddenly you're living in the worst timeline where your toast is bland and no one loves you. So, next time you're frozen by choices, remember, your brain is just trying to protect you from an apocalypse that probably only exists in its own overcaffeinated imagination. Number 14, playing out fake arguments in your head. You're in the shower, passionately explaining why you were totally right in a fight that happened 5 years ago. Or maybe you're practicing a devastating comeback to a conversation that hasn't even happened yet. Congratulations, you're rehearsing for an emotional trial in the Supreme Court of your subconscious. This is called rumination, and it's your brain's way of preparing for confrontation. By simulating World War III in your frontal lobe, it usually comes from fear of being misunderstood, rejected, or powerless. By imagining the perfect retort or preemptively defending yourself, you're trying to regain control over a situation that made you feel vulnerable, even if it's entirely fictional. These mental arguments often sound incredibly convincing in your head. But in real life, you never get to deliver the killer line because reality doesn't follow your script. And still, your subconscious insists on running the simulation like it's prepping for the Oscars. The punchline? The person you're arguing with in your brain? They're probably at brunch right now. With zero awareness, they're starring in your imaginary courtroom drama. Number 15. Constantly needing a backup plan. You can't just go on a trip. You have to research 3 alternate routes, find 5 hotel options, and have a plan B, C, and Z in case of bears, floods, or spontaneous combustion. You're not just prepared. You're living in low-grade survival mode. This kind of over-prepping is linked to catastrophizing, the sneaky fear that everything will go wrong, and it'll be up to you to fix it with duct tape and emotional grit. It's rooted in past experiences where things did go wrong, and no one else showed up to save the day. So now your brain doesn't just anticipate disaster, it assumes it. What looks like responsible planning is often a trauma response in khakis. And while there's nothing wrong with being prepared, it crosses into anxiety territory when your brain won't let you rest without knowing every possible scenario. The irony? The disaster rarely happens, but your nervous system still stays ready, like it's auditioning for a survival show no one's filming. So if you've ever printed out MapQuest directions just in case, your inner child probably needs a hug. And maybe a therapist.